Hey guys, what's up? It's munclesonkey. Welcome to another episode of Condemned to PVM. So I have been working on this episode. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get enough drops as I wanted to, so the boss I was planning on doing is not going to be in this episode, but we're going to go into some really cool bosses in KK and Nex, some of the original kind of high tier PVM. They've been outclassed by future bosses, but when the Evolution of Combat first came out, these were the guys to go to. KK is probably my second favorite boss in the game after Drago, and Nex is a thing. So let's go ahead and get into the clips and see what drops I got and see what progress I've made towards getting all of them. Okay, so we're getting into the Nex drops now, and I have done a fair amount of Nex. I definitely haven't really focused on this boss a whole lot yet. I've mostly just gone when my friends asked if I wanted to go or something like that. And one thing that I did want to clarify before we actually get into this is some people during episode 1 were saying you should have all the drops go to you. I'm not going to do that. What I'm actually going to do is, as long as we get the split as a team, that counts as the drop, because I often go with people who are better DPSers than me, or just people that out DPS me and get the drop at Nex itself, and getting all the Nex drops is going to take a really long time as it is, so I don't want to have to go with perhaps less skilled Nex DPSers and have it take even longer, and then have to get drops maybe more than once because the drop didn't go to me. So just to absolutely clarify, me getting the Nex drop counts as long as it is a split. I just have to get at least one split of every single Nex drop, which is gonna take a really long time all on its own, so don't worry, there will be plenty of Nex clips to come up, as well as I hope to perhaps be streaming a little bit. I did stream one Nex trip so far, and we did manage to get a drop during that trip, so who knows, maybe this stream is a bit of good luck. And overall, I think I've gotten a fairly okay drop rate at Nex so far. This has been one of the nicer bosses to me. So the first drop, this was right after the release of Legacy, so I do apologize for the slightly older clip, but this was after I started the series, so it still counts, and that was the first drop of the Nex so far, which was a Virtus book. It was the first Virtus book I ever got. And then our next drop was, I believe, a couple days later, and this was a Virtus wand, and this was a 4-man, unfortunately, because we had some other guy come into the room and ask if he could kill Nex before his Reaper task, and so we split it with him because I guess we're just nice people. So that was my first Virtus wand as well, which was really cool to get. And then this was the drop that happened on stream, which was Virtus boots. So far everything has been turning up Virtus, so it would be nice to get some drops of the other Nex drops as well, maybe some Pernix and Torva. Typically Virtus is worth the least out of all three of them, unless you're talking about the wand. Still holds a decent value. It's nowhere near the 200 150 mil that it used to be, the extremely prestigious drop it used to be, but it's still decent. And then my final out of the 4 drops that I managed to get from Nex so far was a Pernix Body, so 3 out of the 4 drops were to me. I'm going to try to be getting them just so I can show the clip of them on the ground, but every once in a while I'm sure the drops will be going to other people as well, and that's okay if that happens. So now we get into the drops page themselves, and one thing you might notice is the drops page is very barren, and that is because Nex drops a lot of stuff. The first boss so far that I actually had to make 2 slides to hold all the drops, and I believe it's the only boss where I'm going to have to do that. But so far, 99 kills into Nex and 4 items, so that's 1 out of 25 drop rate. Roughly, it's more like 1 out of 24.25, but whatever. We'll round up just for the sake of convenience. And also, 1 Pernix Body so far, no Torva items as of yet, so hopefully that will change soon and I can get some Torva. It would be cool to get my first Torva plate body. So page 2 of the Nex drops, here a few Nex items show themselves. First Virtus wand ever, first Virtus book ever, and also Virtus boots. I've probably had like 4 or 5 of them at this point. It's been by far my most common Nex drop lifetime at least, but oh well, it's a drop. I'm not going to argue with the drop, especially when we're getting a little bit over the drop rate and a little bit lucky. Unfortunately, Nex is kind of slow to kill, nowhere near as slow to kill as Drago or something like that, but definitely slower than bosses like KK, which I'm more used to. So that's going to be an adjustment period to deal with, and it's going to take a really long time to get all of the Nex drops, but I want to do it because that would be a huge achievement. And now we get into the Kalphite King, one of my favorite bosses in the game, and I'm really looking forward to this one, and also kind of sad that it's Nex that has a ton of drops and Kalphite King that doesn't actually have all that many unique drops. Kind of wish it was the other way around and things would be a lot more fun, but oh well, I'm going to enjoy the time that I do have at KK and make sure that I will eventually get this boss done. This might be one of the first bosses I get done in the near future, just because it's really quite easy to find a team to do Kalphite King with, because I have a lot of friends that are really into it, so that makes things easy, as well as you can just kill KK so fast. Typically I like to 4-man just because the kills are incredibly fast. Every single kill is beneath 2 minutes, and it still amounts to pretty good good money. It's about as good as you would get in maybe a slower trio or duo, so you're not really losing much profit in a 4-man, and the kills just go by so much faster. So I really like that, and the extra XP that comes with that as well. So we're about to get into the drops here. A lot of those clips are a little bit older, and I do apologize for that, and hopefully that won't be the case any much longer. I've used up all the clips that I had on my old PC now, so everything in the future should be in the high definition, better looking graphics. So that's something to look forward to. So our first drop was an Offhand, Drago, Rapier, and that was duo when I got that one. So that was a fairly nice split. It was also a few months ago, so Dragos were worth a little bit more back then. And then the second drop was a trio main hand mace, which was not bad. Again, a little bit ago, so the Dragos were worth a little bit more. And also I got a Drago longsword and an effigy in one drop, which was, I think, pretty legendary. That was a trio as well. So our 4-manning, even though I seemed to do a lot of these kills 4-man, didn't really pan out in terms of drops. It was mostly the trios and the duo where I was really getting lucky with the drops, which was nice until I got my final drop here that I have recorded at least, and this was another main hand Drago longsword. And there was also one additional drop, which was another offhand rapier that I did not record. Not sure what happened to the clip. I lost it in translation somewhere, but I did get 5 Dragors, but it was a duplicate anyway, so it doesn't count towards the series. Looking into the statistics of Kalphite King, we have 3 out of the 6 Dragors done, at least the unique ones, even though we have had 5 Dragor drops, 3 main hands, 1 offhand, and even with the price of relatively cheap Dragors now, they're not worth a whole lot. It still is good money as long as you're getting those fast kills. There's a lot of PVM that has really struggled with the crashing prices lately, and Kalphite King has been one instance of that, but it's still a lot of fun, and I still enjoy the boss quite a bit. I'm also all the way up to 231 kills. I will probably be around 500-ish by the time I finish off all the Dragors. It should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to doing more of this boss. Now we get into the overall price check. I kept track of all the regular drops, and I did sell all of the splits, or the other people sold them and split with me, so all of that will be into coin value. So first of all, for the Nex, I made 42 mil, which is not bad for 100 Nex kills, roughly 100. It's 99 obviously, but that comes out to almost an average of 420k per kill. That's not bad at all. That's really good for Nex. I don't expect that's going to continue because Nex items, have dropped a little bit more since I got most of those drops, but still that is a good value, and hopefully I'll end up getting a lot more Nex drops sometime soon and adding to that tab. And the Kalphite King price check should be a lot more lucrative because we did get a lot more Kalphite King kills. So the regular drops, unfortunately, Kalphite King aren't worth a whole lot, but holy cow, look at those charms. Almost 900 blues and 1.6k crimsons. You get a lot of charms at KK if you're a DPS especially, and killing all the minions. So 94 million from 230 Kalphite King kills. That's not bad at all. That's some pretty solid money, especially considering KK is such a quick boss to kill. And again, I should make some bank even with the bad Dragor prices, and should profit a lot from both of these bosses, but really especially from Kalphite King. So if we add up all of the profit that I made this episode, it comes to a total of 136.7 mil, which is quite good considering I haven't done a whole lot of Nex yet. And you have to remember that does not count supply costs, that's just all of the loot added up. However, I'm not going to count supplies because for most bosses the supply costs are fairly minimal, and it would be really hard to track like how many overloads I use and how many sharks I eat and stuff like that. Now to find our total series profit, I have to add up the total profit from episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3 combined with this episode, and all of that added together comes to a total of 618 mil so far earned between just the first 4 episodes, and I have a long way to go, so I imagine to be making way more money in the future. And I also have a couple nice drops that I have not shown you guys yet that are going to add to a lot of profit as well. Some bosses that I have been doing but just have not put in the series as of yet. So before we end off this episode, one thing that we have to do is check out the overall boss counter. I'm getting really close to 4k overall kills, and that should be really cool when I get that because you only need 5,000 for the final boss title. I obviously have a really long way to go with Drago, Araxor, Fight Kiln, stuff like that. That's going to take quite a while, but I do plan on getting that title eventually. And admittedly, the God Wars dungeon kills are fairly quick, and they've boosted up my boss kill count by quite a lot. So before we end off here, if you want to check out the full series playlist, it's on screen and a link as well in the description. I also have loot from 100 Nex and 100 Kalphite King if you want to see more about what these bosses drop. Links to those are on the screen if you want to check them out. They're pretty good. And I will see you guys next time with the next Condemned PVM, hopefully within a week. And we should be doing Virago. So that should be all for me. Farewell.